Quake. Where do I even begin? I'd like to take you on a brief tour of the game industry's most influential title, probably of all time, and certainly one that I remember most fondly from my childhood. Quake. Yes, the granddaddy of the 3D first-person shooter. I had a big, long, boring video script talking about Quake and its history, but honestly, you could just read its Wikipedia article to get the gist. What I really want to do here is share my experience of Quake and what Quake means to me personally, having played it for over 20 years now. A little context before we get started. Quake released in the summer before I started high school, June 1996. Yes, I am old. Prior to Quake, the only 3D games I'd played, like actually true 3D games, were Descent, which you can see here, and a game called Terminal Velocity. I also played the Windows 95 version called Fury 3. As you can see, both leave something to be desired, although Descent was a pretty decent maze runner in 3 dimensions. Plus, it ran well on my 486 at the time. Yeah, I had an old 486. I'd been gifted it by my uncle, and upgraded it bit by bit from its 486 SX33 roots all the way up to an AMD 5x86 133. It was my pride and joy. It was a screamer, and in fact that was its name. It started my habit of naming my computers so that I could tell one from another. But I digress. The home PC market was changing pretty quickly, and id was riding that wave. During programming, id Software specifically targeted the recently released Pentium processors to ensure fluid gameplay. But that had the effect of leaving 486 users like myself and most of my friends in the dust. When I finally got a hold of Quake, this is what it looked like for me. The only way for me to play it even somewhat enjoyably was to size the window down to the point that I couldn't see anything. Of course, these days, it's easy to run Quake well. id released the source code to the original engine once they'd extracted enough revenue from sales of the game and licensing of the engine to other game developers. Because of that, source ports have shown up throughout the years, touting better rendering, broader 3D graphics card support, and new and enhanced effects. Of course, you can still play the original on modern hardware, provided you use the later WinQuake official Windows port. Or, you can install DOS on your brand new gaming PC. I'm particularly fond of Quake's original software renderer when it's scaled up to these ridiculous resolutions. Behold the glory that is HD Quake. Beautiful, yes. Yes. Quake was a lot of things to a lot of people. To id, it was their new revenue stream for the foreseeable future, ensuring that they'd remain at the forefront of PC gaming for almost a decade. For PC gamers, it was sweet justification for plunking down so much money on that new Gateway or Packard Bell with a Pentium 90. For me, Quake was my life. I dove into its multiplayer, into mods, into custom maps and total conversions. These days, it's pretty hard to get your hands on the original mods, but Quake's legacy is all around us. Team Fortress 2, Half-Life, you could even make the argument that the modern indie game movement was spawned by Quake and its modability. I want to show you 2 mods that I played back in the day that I absolutely loved, and that I haven't seen reproduced since the original Quake. Quake Rally and Slide. How are these games made? Years before Unreal Engine and Unreal Script, Quake modders could rewrite enormous sections of Quake's game code using a language called Quake C. Quake C was incredibly powerful, and because it was bytecode compiled when you built the mod, it was completely cross-platform. You only ever had to write your Quake C once, and it would work in DOS, Windows, Linux, Mac, anything that Quake was ported to. It was way ahead of its time. It had limitations, of course. This is still 1996, don't forget. Those limitations are no more apparent than in Quake Rally, where the limitations of the engine don't allow you to directly steer your vehicle, but instead require you to steer by looking where you want the car to eventually go. Still, it was an impressive feat, and Quake Rally was loads of fun to play multiplayer with friends. Slide is an altogether different beast. Where Quake Rally attempted to shoehorn a seemingly incompatible game genre into Quake, Slide instead simply changes your mobility. And how? Slide's gameplay was fast-paced, producing speeds that seemed impossible for the Quake engine to handle. Gameplay was challenging, but depended more on memorization of the particular track you were sliding, rather than the luck of not encountering any game-breaking bugs, as was common when playing Quake Rally. Again, Slide's unique gameplay really shined when enjoyed with friends, especially on the hybrid levels like this one, where spectators or racers who'd already finished the track, or who had voluntarily dropped their boards, could grab a weapon and take pot shots at the other sliders as they barreled down the track. It was a phenomenal experience, and again, felt like something completely different than vanilla Quake. It was stunning to behold in this engine that, for all intents and purposes, was just a first-person shooter. Before we go, I'd like to introduce you to one final first for me, and it's broken into 2 parts. Quake was my first exposure to machinima, that is, films produced within a video game engine. The first machinima I watched was also the first speedrun I'd witnessed. It was Quake Done Quicker, a stitched-together complete run of Quake on Nightmare difficulty that had been refilmed for dramatic and sometimes comedic effect. The second machinima I'd watched was the inimitable Apartment Huntin' by the Ill Clan. The rapid succession by which these industry-altering mods were released, consumed, and expanded upon was breathtaking, and it opened my eyes to a whole new realm of possibility within gaming. Gaming as art form, driven by end users. Human expression in digital form, the game engine as paintbrush. It was an amazing time, and the modern gaming and modding landscapes owe their existence to Quake and the revolutionary mods created for it back in the day.
Well, speaking of which, remember, this guy is a little strange. He doesn't like lumberjacks. So whatever you do, don't let on to the fact that you're lumberjacks.
Carrying axes, then.
Well, we got them at Taco Bell. They give them away free with every new taco.
Tacos.
Sounds good to me. Just stick to your story, whatever you do. Don't let it go. Alright.
Not a lumberjack.
Now, I was curious if this place had a...
Hoyo! What do you want?
Oh, jeez. Alright. Oh, okay, I got it. No, Lenny, I got it. I got it. We're fine. We're fine. Listen. He's just the landlord. He's defending the building. It's his job. Calm down. Calm down. Hello there.
Oh, I suppose you guys see it to see the apartment, eh?
That's correct. Yes, I brought 2 non-lumberjacks to see the apartment.
Non-lumberjacks, my eyes. You guys are both carrying axes. All 3 of you are.
Well, we got them at Taco Bell. It was a special giveaway. Free with every taco.
All right, well, whatever you do, just don't break anything. I'm going hunting.
All right, thanks a lot.
Oh, we're not lumberjacks.
It worked! Well, we are lumberjacks.
Thank you for watching. Good night, and good hunting.